There is a story about a husband and wife. Oh my goodness me, how they love one another. There was never such a love. They lived in a little cottage, in a little garden surrounded by a forest like this. Every day they would go into their garden and they would work together. And you know what? Do you know what? They only grew one thing. Roses. Red roses everywhere. Up the sides of the walls of the cottage, over the roof, up the trees, everywhere. Red roses. They adored them. And the garden was getting older and older and more beautiful. Their love was getting stronger and stronger. And then one evening probably like this, they were standing outside of the cottage, admiring the garden, seeing all the roses. And the husband said to the wife, "Do you know, I don't think that the roses have ever looked as beautiful as they do this evening. What do you think?" "Yes," she said, "my husband, I know you are right. We should have a celebration," he said. "We should have a fine meal, some good wine." "Yes," she said, "I'll go and start cooking." And she went into the cottage, and he stood there and he looked. "This'll be a fine evening," he said. And he went in, and he went across the hallway, and he went into the kitchen. He says to my wife, "What do you think you should cook? What do you want me to do?" And he looked around, and the kitchen was empty. She wasn't there. "My wife, where are you? I don't understand." So he went into the dining room. "My wife, what are you doing?" "Oh no, of course she's probably gone into the back garden." So he went back to the kitchen, to the back door, and he opened. But when he went to open the door, he realized the key was in the lock, and the door was locked. So he went into the hallway and looked up the stairs. "My wife, are you upstairs?" So he went up the stairs and he went into the bedroom. "Is this a game? Should we have—" "My wife, you're not here. Why is—" So he went into the spare room. "My wife, what is going on?" And he came down the stairs. "Where are you? Where are you?" But he couldn't find her anywhere. He looked and he looked and he looked. And then he realized it was a game. But when he was back in the kitchen, he could see the kitchen table. And next to the kitchen table, there was a trapdoor. There was a cellar down below, and that was where all the wine was. She was hiding down there. That's what she was doing. So he lifted up the trapdoor, and he went down the stairs. "My wife, are you—" But when he got down there, nothing. She wasn't there. "I don't understand. My wife, I'm getting scared. This is not funny anymore. Please come out from wherever you're hiding." But she didn't appear. Well, he didn't eat that night, and he didn't sleep. And the next day he went into the garden, and he went around, and he looked after the roses, and he cried, and he came back inside. "My wife, where are you? I don't understand." He cooked a little meal that night, and all he could think about, "Well, where's my wife? Where is she? I don't understand. She must be somewhere." And every day was the same. Couldn't find her. Night after night, he could not sleep, and he stopped eating. He didn't know what to do. And the weeks became a month, and 2 months, and 3 months, and he was so sad. Where was my wife? It was such a fine evening. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months went by. And then, on the day after the 12 months, a year and a day, he was in the kitchen. He was cooking a little meal when he suddenly heard scratch, 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 scratch. And he looked at the window, and there she was, outside, scratching at the window. "Oh, my wife!" And he ran to the back door, and he unlocked it, and he went out there, and there she was, and she was so thin. And he caught hold of her, and he carried her in, and he placed her on a chair in the kitchen. He said, my wife, where on earth have you been? What has happened to you?" And she looked at me and she said, "Oh, my husband, I had no idea." What? What is it? Tell me." "Everywhere there are ghosts. And they have been watching us for so long, and they were jealous of us. And that night when I came into the house, they stole me away. They took me away." What do you mean? They took you away? Where did they take you?" "They took me into our garden." "What?" "I've been in the garden for a year and a day, but I haven't seen you." "No," she said, They turned me into one of the roses. You've been turned into a rose all this time? Yes, she said. And I could see you coming and going, and I couldn't speak. And I begged with the ghost, please let me go home to my husband, please let me go home. And eventually they said, you can go home for one night. And this is what they do. They said that I was to tell you that I could only stay with you this night. And when the sun rises and comes through the window of the door, I will leave you. And I will go back to being a rose. And this is what you must do, my husband. You must find me. You must find me, and you can only make one choice. If you make the wrong choice, you will never see me again. So you have to find me. But how will I know? How will I know which one is you? That is your problem, she said. But think quickly. We don't have many hours. So he sat there and he thought and he thought and he thought. I know. But no, that wouldn't work. If you... No, that wouldn't work either. No, that wouldn't work either. What if... No, that wouldn't work. No, that wouldn't work. No, I don't know. I really don't know. Husband, be quick. Look, it's getting light. Quickly. I can hear the birds singing. Quickly. The sun will come up and then I will leave. How are you going to find me? I know, she said. And as she opened her mouth to tell her husband, the sunlight came through the window of the door and touched her lips, and as soon as it did, she could not speak. And unseen hands, the hands of ghosts, began to lift her up out of that chair. Other unseen hands began to open the door of the front of the cottage, and other unseen hands began to push her out. And the husband was watching her. Where are you going? Where are you going? Because he couldn't see the ghost, and by the time he got outside, nothing. Just roses, red roses everywhere. Oh, which one are you? Oh, my wife, couldn't you have told me? How am I meant to know which one you are? And I only have one choice. So that's your problem. This is your dilemma now. You only have one choice. You can ask a friend perhaps, but you only have one choice, and if you get it wrong, that's it. How is he going to find his wife? How will he know which rose is her? Somebody once told me, of course it will be the one without any dew on it, because she wasn't outside at night. That's a good answer. Wasn't right. Somebody else said, oh, I know what it would be the rose without any thorns. I thought that was quite a nice answer. Somebody else said it was a white rose because I just reminded them that they were all red. It's your dilemma. How is he going to find her? I suppose you'd like to know. Sometimes storytellers like to play games. Why should I tell you? Why shouldn't I let you have that little gnawing feeling inside that you don't really know? Because I'm not going to tell you. Of course, there could be many different answers, but really there's only one. I wonder if I should tell you. Or should I leave it till next year? Of course, the answer is this. When he went outside, when he looked around, when he got over the panic, he did what he knew he should do. He shut his eyes. He calmed himself. And when he opened them, and he looked, of course, he said, there you are. You see, the answer to the riddle is this, and it's simple. He loved her so much that once he connected with his heart, he knew which rose was his wife.